Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I'm gonna be talking about my best plays for UFC 300 this week. Best the best tips for the best bets to put in if you're into that kind of stuff. Now, just as to keep myself in a good place, good peace of mind. Don't just gamble responsibly. Don't gamble money that you can't afford to lose, and don't go in with the expectation that any of these will hit. And without further ado, here are the locks that I am providing. So in the Cody Garbrandt versus Davison Figueiredo fight, and by the way, I'm not putting anything like over minus 200 because it's more like underdog plays I'm kind of giving you. But yeah, pretty much nothing over minus 200. So we have under 1.5 rounds. I think either one of these guys will get a finish. Although Figgy, like I have Figgy by points. I think that's kind of likely to happen. But I like the Garbrandt money line at plus 235 because I actually think he's going to win, which a lot of people don't seem to think that's going to happen. So, yeah, I guess I'm the odd one out in that point. And yeah, then we a Figgy by KO TKO. We know Garbrandt lost by KO TKO in 3 of his 4 losses in the UFC. Figgy has that power, but I think Garbrandt's faster. And I like the Garbrandt by 5 at plus 550 KO TKO because I think that's the only way he wins. And I think he's going to win. I think he's going to catch Figgy. He's going to beat him. Figgy's going to go down the pipe with a 1-2. Cody's going to check him with a left hook and a counter. And yeah, so here are the plays for this fight. Moving on. Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. So Bobby Green and Miller money lines, both of them. Fair enough. I have Miller winning this fight, but these are good values for either guy who you think's gonna win. I'm not here to tell you who I think's. Oh, I'm gonna tell you who I think's gonna win, but I'm not gonna try to. I'm gonna try to stay as neutral as possible. But you'll kind of see my biases in the bets. But Bobby Green. These are both just good value for whoever you think's gonna win. And I think if Bobby wins, it will be by points. I don't think he'd finish Jim Miller. And vice versa. I think if Jim Miller wins, it won't be by points. I think it'll be by finish. And I'm thinking KO TKO because Bobby's chin won't be the same after that Jalen Turner fight. But yeah, so I mean, I can also see a sub if he knocks Bobby Green down, jumps on a sub. And yeah, and I see this fight being finished by Jim Miller inside 2.5 rounds. It's very good value for this line for this amount of rounds. So yeah, moving on, we have Mariano Rodriguez versus Jessica Andrade. I don't have a lot of plays for this one. I just have. I could have probably added the Andrade money line if you want to play that. I just don't think she'll win. She 100% could just because she's Jessica Andrade. But I think Mariano Rodriguez gets this done by TKO inside 2.5 rounds. If you saw my prediction video yesterday, which you should check that out too, you could probably get a better understanding of why these bets are getting placed because I'm not going to go into full detail. But yeah, this fight I just don't have a lot to say about it. I just think she's going to win by KO TKO. If you want, you can put on Andrade's money line, but I don't know how she wins. You just have to pray. Moving on. Turner versus Moicano. Now, over 1.5 rounds at minus 116 I think is good value. I don't see this getting finished inside 1.5. I think it extends to round 3, which is where I think these, if it is finishing under 1.5 though, it'll be by an early Turner KO. So, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Moicano at plus 200 on the money line is very good value. Because Jalen Turner is 14-7. He's got holes in his game. He always has to make that big weight cut. And as the fight gets into the later stages, if Moicano can survive the early onslaught, it's going to become rough for Turner. And I like Moicano by sub. I could see a late round 2, early round 3 sub. I could have probably put Moicano by points on here too. But I could see, I love the value of Moicano by sub. And if you're going to put points, I would just put the Moicano money line just in case a sub happens. You're still getting paid. But if you're feeling risky, I love the Moicano plus 500. Moicano by sub at plus 500. And yeah, Jalen Turner at minus 115 for a KO too. I think it's a little too low, but I don't mind it because I think if he does win, this is how he wins. So yeah, moving on. Sadiq Youssef versus Diego Lopez. I love the Lopez money line at minus 148. Under 1.5. I don't see this getting out the first round, especially Diego Lopez, because Sadiq's a fast starter, and I think Lopez just is gonna catch him. As you can see by this bet down, I think Sadiq catching him early. I mean, I think Lopez catching Sadiq early. So yeah, I like the Lopez by KO, TKO, or sub if it gets out the first. I think he gets sub. Yusuf by KO, TKO, especially early. That's a good line, a plus 420. I love Lopez by +7. Lopez by round 1 KO, plus 750. I think that's a great line. Plus 750 is great value for a pick that I'm as confident in as I am. And yeah, I like the under. Like I said, yeah, I like these plays. If you're thinking about putting a bet on this fight, just take these into consideration. Moving on, Holly Holm, Kayla Harrison. Over 2.5. I don't see a finish at all. I think Holm money line plus 320 is great value because I think she's gonna win anyway. And if you think Harrison's gonna win, just put by points. I don't see this fight getting finished anyway. So if you have Harrison winning, just bet the plus 130 by points. If you have Holm winning, I'd probably bet the plus 550 on points too. But the money line is a safer option because it's still plus 320 and it takes in all accounts of winning. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this fight. And moving on, we have Calvin Kattar versus Aljo. Another fight. I don't think there's a lot of finishing potential here, other than maybe I could see maybe a Sterling sub, but I wouldn't be confident enough to bet on it. I could see Kattar catching Sterling by KO, TKO, because you have that O'Malley film. Because Sterling loves to do that thing where he switches from southpaw to orthodox, leaving his chin wide up in the air. Because he throws it straight to switch stances, and he keeps it straight out there a little longer than normal. And Sterling money line at minus 180 is good. I like that because I think that if this goes to decision, Sterling is gonna win. So if you're betting Kattar to win, I would just put by KO, TKO. I don't see Kattar winning by points if it gets that far. Sterling by points though, I like that at plus 130. Because it's an underdog pick, and I think it's going to go to the distance. I think it's going to go to Sterling. So yeah, and minus 192 for the fight going the distance, because I think it will. I think that's pretty decent value. Almost not. Like I said, if it's over minus 200, unless I'm doing a big parlay, I'm really not putting it in. As you'll see with certain fight, I think you know what I'm talking about. Moving on, Prochazka versus Rakic. I like both their money lines here. It's almost a pick 'em. And I can see there's ways for both of them to win, of course. I like the over 2.5 because I think Rakic is taking it to deep waters against Yuri. If I'm parlaying this fight, I'm taking Rakic money line over 2.5 and Rakic by point. I don't think you could. I would just do Rakic by points and over 2.5 in a parlay. But yeah, because if Yuri wins, I think it'll have to be by finish by KO, TKO. So if you think Yuri's winning, you could just do this instead of playing money line, but the money line's still good value at minus 104. You could probably do that too in case it's an upset decision, because you never know. Fight going the distance at plus 162. If you're gonna pick the over 2.5, you're pretty cool. You might as well put this, because once a fight gets to that final 2.5 minutes, very rarely do we see a finish in that little 2-minute 30-second time window. So yeah. If you're confident either of them, just pick the money line. Great value. And yeah. Alright, moving on. Yeah. This fight, there's just all terrible odds. It's really bad. Unless you're that confident at nickel, that minus 3,000. If you want to put all your money on it. But even then, you're not getting paid. If you bet $3,000 on this fight, you're gonna get $100 in return. There's really no point unless you're doing a big full card parlay. You could probably put nickel on there; it'll raise it. But yeah, this fight, there's really nothing worth betting on it. Moving on, Oliveira versus Sarukian. In my opinion, the most unpredictable fight. This fight, I don't have the Arman straight money line because it's over minus. It's he's favored more. But I love the Oliveira money line, and I love the finishing potential here. I think Oliveira could win by points too, but I love these, especially the KO TKO. I love that at plus 700. I think he'll catch Arman with the left hook. But I like Sarukian by sub too. We don't see Charles get knocked out that much, but we have seen him subbed by Islam, by Pettis got him in a guillotine. Yeah, and Arman's really good in the ground. He's more of a wrestler, but I think he could find the sub if he's really looking for it. So yeah, if you think Arman's gonna win, you could probably just put the money line. Yeah, I could probably put that on here. But if you're feeling risky, I would not mind the Sarukian by sub at plus 750. I think that's great value for a bet that I'm pretty confident could happen. But as you can see, I think Oliveira is going to win. And I love these 3 bets, all in the pluses for Oliveira. I think that's great value, especially if you're doing a parlay. Yeah, moving on. Gaethje Holloway, the 5-rounders. These are a lot harder to predict because it's an extra 10 minutes. But I think this fight goes over 3.5. I wasn't confident enough to bet will it go the distance, because as you can see down here, I think the way for Gaethje to win is by KO, which I don't know if that's going to happen. I love the Holloway money line, by the way, too, at plus 138. Holloway's the underdog. He's just a more technical, better fighter. It's just if Gaethje can catch him. I love the late rounds, 4 and 5. Holloway by KO TKO in round 4 and round 5. I think his volume is just going to wear Justin down, and we see Justin in these, like against Alvarez in the first Poirier fight. In the later rounds, he starts to gas, and that chin just doesn't hold up the same as it did earlier. And I think this is great value, especially when he's going up against the volume puncher in Holloway. Now, I think this fight will go the distance, but I wouldn't put money on it, especially because it's 5. If there's 3 rounds, 100%. But it being 5 rounds changes everything. So, yeah, I like these bets. Moving on. Zhang Weili versus Yang Xiaonan. It's all Weili. Over 3.5. I think it goes over 3.5. The Weili money lines, you could take it if you want. Don't take the Xiaonan money line. If you're gonna pick Xiaonan, just take the KO TKO, because that's the only way I see her winning. I don't see her in a point fest. I don't see her ground game being better. If you think Yang Xiaonan is gonna win, you're thinking it's by KO TKO, and that's the way you gotta do it. You gotta go with that. And I like Weili by any method of victory. Yeah, I like any method of victory. That's what I'm trying to say. Any method of victory for Zhang Weili. And yeah, do you think Yang Xiaonan plus 100? Moving on. Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill, the final fight of the night. I think this fight definitely goes over 1.5. Like 100% does. Well, no, I can't say they are light heavyweights. They are big boys. So we might not see this fight go over 1.5. I like both their money lines. If you think one is going to win, you could just pick their money line. And I like both of them by KO TKO. Neither of them are going for a sub. That's just not happening. I don't know. I don't see what round this could happen. I could see any of the 5 rounds ending in a KO TKO for either of them. But yeah, I think this fight's getting out the first. I like that. You could even pick the under, honestly, because they're both just. They're just in the 205-pound division, man. Heavy sluggers. A one punch could land, and that could be it. So if you're thinking it's an early night, good value in the under here. But I got the best picks, I think, are the over 1.5. Both are money lines, and either of them by KO TKO, the best values here. And yeah, so let's go. Let's get this money together. And yeah, if you like this video, just subscribe, hit the like button. And yeah, have fun watching UFC 300. Peace.